Alright, so today we have a big heavy task at hand, which is ranking all units in Grand Cross. Well, not all, we'll skip about like 80% of them, but ranking all relevant units in Grand Cross based on how toxic they are. So first we have to rename the tier. So obviously the first one is just, I don't know, we'll do that while we do it, right? I had a name initially, but I don't like it anymore, so I'll think of a different one while we make it. But we'll skip through all the relevant units, right? Like if I get green fat king, like no one cares, right? I could make a tier for irrelevant units, I suppose. I'll make an irrelevant tier. Add row below, irrelevant, right? A lot of your units might be in here. I remember when I made a tier list, I called a certain unit bad. People started freaking out. Also, let me know if you want me to make an actual tier list. I don't think people care though. I think it's pretty straightforward with what is good in Grand Cross and what isn't. But if you do want validation that unit is good, I can make a tier list. Right. So let's get started first because I want this to not be too long. Okay, so irrelevant. Alaska. Alaska is pretty toxic because she pretty much always has a taunt up. Unless you have someone that removes buffs. In which case you don't care for a passive because you can just like remove the buff from the revive target, right? Most cases assault melee, but there's some other cheese comes too with it. It is really annoying to face, genuinely. So it is pretty toxic. I don't think it's too toxic. I'll put her in A for amazing, okay? And we'll leave it there. We might move her depending on where other people go. But yeah. Now Red King, I'll give him an E. I'll give him an honorable mention. Because he used to be very, very toxic because Pierce raid and everything, we run Pierce team. If you don't know about Red King, if you start playing after, don't worry, you didn't miss out on much. But he was pretty annoying. People just ran him in the back just to counter Pierce, which is pretty boring, like a pretty lazy way to counter the team. But it is what it is. He was annoying at a time, so I want to give him the least amount of respect. Same with like Red Escanor, but he was just toxic because like he was broken for a very short amount of time. But Red King was a little different. Red Gown removes buffs, is not really that toxic though, so very irrelevant. Irrelevant, very irrelevant. Omega relevant, super relevant. I'll put both Asterosa in a tier because their commandment is toxic. Now Red Asterosa is not that good. I'll put him in E, right? Only because of the commandment, but nothing else. Like the Kyo team, everything, he can do big damage because co-destruction is broken, but that's it. A green Asterosa is pretty toxic. Actually, I'll put him in S. The debuff immunity he gives and the team he can create with that is so annoying. And then the 20% attack related stats lowering is so stupid. It should just be attack, not attack related. It's so stupid. But yeah, that's why he's an S tier. Not an SS. I know what I'm gonna put there. But yeah, Green Monspeed is pretty toxic, but he's not. I don't think he's worthy. Like he's just strong, but he's not really necessarily toxic. Not toxic. Oh, would we call him toxic? When I look at him, I think of toxic. I was thinking of Nagato first. I don't know why. He looks like Nagato to me. I think I'll put him B tier because he's not like toxic. He was just really strong and overwhelming for like when it was his time to shine. But he was like, his team was still kind of toxic with Goddess list and everything. You can't hit them because then he gets a rank 3s and he just kills you anyway. That was fairly toxic, but it wasn't like actively toxic. It was like more of a he's really strong type deal, but at the same time it was like his team and everything was toxic. So I'll put him there, I suppose. B tier, I think that's fine. Blue Author, no one cares. Red Mono is strong, but no one cares. No one cares. E, honorable mention again. Like he had his very, very limited amount of shine on JP at least. I don't know about global. With like the whole out-CCing Lost Vein, they can't get their ultimates, and then people just won that way. So I suppose he had his toxic place. Any unit that is powered by whale power is toxic to me. Yeah, no one's running these in PvP. Nah, not toxic. Not toxic, just a good unit. Yeah, he's not toxic. Greg Lock's commandment is very toxic, but it's also very cool. And it doesn't feel that oppressive. It just makes you I feel like it improves the game, if anything, because you have to think around stuff like, oh, do I do this first, then this? Oh, do I do this? Do I actually want to use both cards because I get that massive debuff? So I actually think although that commandment is toxic when it gets it off, it makes the game more interesting, so it doesn't feel as toxic. And he doesn't have like debuff immunity. He has a cleanse though, but he doesn't have debuff immunity, so like he would still be affected, or like his team would still be affected for that one card at least, up until he can cleanse it. So I'll put him in B tier too. I don't think he's super toxic, but Glocks is there. I'm not gonna put Green Glocks here, even though Green Glocks, no, this Glocks is more toxic, because you get this Glocks is ult faster, and he has a heal, and he seals rank 2s, whereas the other Glocks has an attack seal, but that's it. Zaratras, funny. Shin is toxic, but not super toxic. But he is toxic. No, he's just strong. Or he was strong at the time, and I'm just salty that I lost him. These are all non-toxic. Athena is not toxic. Kyo is toxic. Tio is toxic. But like same thing. It just ignites a cringe. And I don't like the unit, so I'm gonna put him here. Mai is toxic too, I think, but in like a way that isn't crazy. Rugal is toxic. You can't hit him. Like if you don't one-shot him or finish him off quickly, he becomes pretty strong. I actually don't know how strong he becomes with his Holy Relic, but when he was at his peak, when he released, it was kind of like stupid. Me and Nagato for the longest time considered him the best unit, even though people like stopped caring about him, back then at least. So I'll put him in an honorable like C tier. I think he's not as toxic as these, but he had his moments. Green Gowther, is he toxic? No, not toxic. He's broken. All right. See, we have a contender for SS. The shield, and during her reign, you had to run her or you're stupid. For the most part, the shield is stupid, right? Rupture works against it, but and no other effect, type advantage, crit, nothing works on it. It's so annoying to get rid of. A lot of times, if it's a strong ally, right, especially with Green Gowther, then later on, and then like the one, and her actually having good attack, that shield was actually too strong. She has a stun, she has a res, her ult. I mean, we already know, right? I don't have to explain what she does, but she is the toxic face of Grand Cross, I think. I think if you think of Grand Cross and toxic, there's 3 units that come to mind, or that should come to mind, and she's definitely one of them. And she's probably the first one you think of. So yeah. Hawk, okay, bro. Wedding Dan, don't care. Actually sort of toxic, but in like a funny way, so I'll put him in D tier. Blue Fortune, okay, the cheese units, I don't care. People like them. I think they're mad cringe. That's why I just 90 as a 6 mine as a message. It's so, just play the game. Just play the game. It's not that deep, just play the game. I can't see the list right now, but when I see her, like, yeah, she'll get moved in there too. There she is. Yeah. Anyway, Blue Droll is fairly toxic. Cause Petrify and his commandment is pretty annoying. Taunt's broken. Green Droll is a lot more toxic. I'm actually gonna go as far as putting him in A tier, because the teams that people make with him are very annoying. Old seal, attack seal teams are really annoying, and then debuff seals, yo, it's too cringe. Bellion, funny. Ludo, I said whale stuff at least deserves an E, right? And during his, when he actually had good CC, he was kind of like oppressive. Was he toxic though? Because he didn't stop you from playing a game, right? Like Fraudulent did. So actually I'm gonna put him in irrelevant. Yeah. Boom, boom. Actually toxic unit, but I love that unit. But he is toxic. His passive, his whole Yu-Gi-Oh card passive, like not letting you play the game. You can't get your ultimate, you can't cleanse, you can't heal. Very, very annoying. Very, very toxic. I'm actually gonna put him A. I want to put him in S tier, but he wasn't broken for long. He had like his 1 month of being broken. He just has debuffs, which are like the definition of toxic, I suppose, but not really. She is toxic, but she's not good enough to like actually make a difference. But I'll put her in C tier. Cyril is toxic because of how much damage she does, and that usually isn't an indicator for toxic, but the amount of damage she does is toxic. So I'll actually put him in C tier too. I think he genuinely deserves C tier for how much damage he does. Now we have the second toxic phase of Grand Cross, Tarmiel. In no video game ever that was PvP based was it a good idea to make a unit scale of a defensive stat, because then the unit does more damage in DPS while also taking less damage in DPS. Never makes sense. He also heals, he also protects allies, he also has ult control, he lowers your max health by the amount of his defense, which a lot of people forget, but is broken. Very, very annoying unit. And again, you run with this bad boy, is kind of over. It's over. You're not playing the game. See you later. The team will always be good. Literally will always be good. Asterosa, Tarmiel, Green Gowther will always be good. I don't think there'll ever be a time in Grand Cross where it falls off, especially because these two don't have their Holy Relic yet, so they'll just get better. So, yeah. I hate this unit. So I actually hate Tarmiel. I was so happy when he dropped because I was like, yo, he's sick. I always liked Tarmiel's design. Character-wise, it's great. It's 7 days since no one cares about the character, but design-wise, I always thought pretty cool. Right, I saw his cards in game. I was like, oh, they're pretty cool, and then it turned out to be this toxic mess, and I was very upset. Christmas Elaine is an attempt at a toxic unit, but she sucks, so it doesn't matter. Okay, she's kind of toxic, but the way Grand Cross works doesn't allow her to be toxic. The one is very toxic. I'm actually gonna put him in SS because not only does he do stupid damage and makes you not want to play the game, but then also he has 3 turns of debuff immunity. Now, what I mean by 3 turns is when he has 2 buffs and it's your turn, you attack him. You can't debuff him. You can't dissolve him so he doesn't get his ult next turn. You can't attack seal him so he can't kill you next turn. You can't stun him. Nothing, right? So he's debuff immune on that turn, pretty much, right? So then it's his turn and he's actually debuff immune. He has a little debuff immune thing. Right, he attacks you. You could have Asterosa commandment, Ghost commandment, anything. Right, assault melee. It doesn't matter. He can't get debuffed. So you can just attack freely. And then it's your turn, and he's still a debuff immune. Right, which technically is only 2 turns of debuff immunity, but I'm calling it 3 turns. But yeah, very cringe unit, very annoying. It's too much damage in one kit. It's to this day still. So yeah, definitely an SS. The debuff immunity really just tops off. That he's just way too toxic. Okay, Green Gowther, I mean, this is pretty much only PvP based, so there's no point in Green Gowther, right? Yeah. Nanashi is not, I'll put him in E, because he was an attempt. I think he's a cool, really, really cool unit. Being unknown and not Goddess hurts him. If he was Goddess, you could run him like Margaret and stuff, he'd actually be kind of busted. But he's unknown, no one really cares, so he gets an E tier. But he is a creative unit, and I hope Grand Cross or Netmarble makes some more units like this. Red Gil, I mean, at his peak, he was sort of toxic, but like, not really, especially on global. So yeah, Dino for Liz, Keg, Blue Mono, Keg, made to be toxic, but sucks. I'll give her an E, because she was anti-toxic, so I actually won't. Okay, you're toxic, you are toxic. This thing, super defensive, if you hit it too many times, all your ults get locked. Does a stupid amount of damage, removes buffs, which pretty much like deletes your efforts. I'll put it in B tier. She's not super toxic, but she's fairly toxic. Assault melee is toxic. You attack him, you get debuffed. It's just toxic, right? I actually genuinely gonna put him S tier. No one enjoys fighting an assault melee team, right? So yeah, Denzel is toxic, but not really. It's toxic, but not really. It's ugly. You're toxic. You're toxic. Infect is so toxic, and you know that you have to hit her at least 3 times to kill her. Actually toxic. I'm gonna put it here. Actually just too strong. And like the infect is broken. Infect in the unit is just broken. AoE too. Funny. Broken. Toxic. You hit her twice, you get frozen. She cleanses all debuffs. And then both her cards are just anti-fun cards. It's dissolve and freeze. And then she has lost Vein ultimate. So yeah, you do the math. She's up here. No. Sorta, but not really. He's toxic. He is toxic. I'll put him here. I think he's on the same level as like Brett Meliodas, Green Draw King. You attack, all your stats get lowered. He disables, he has a stance. Cringe. So, A tier, right? Just a basic toxic kit. Yeah, it's sort of toxic. Okay, at his peak, you know what? Because I'm gonna rank them at their peak. At his peak, almost made me uninstall. When I was new to JP, like month 1 of the game and I was playing, he was out. I didn't have him because I was free to play, I didn't have coins. I couldn't buy him because we didn't have coin shop banners, we just had them in the coin shop. Actual toxic, like I want to put him here, high key, because of how I felt. But he was strong, I guess. Snatch is kind of like annoying though, so I'll put him in irrelevant. I'll give him honorable mention, like King. You know what? He gets there. He can be there. No, he was toxic genuinely, but not worthy enough of being there. But whoever cut these out is bad. Why are they like so weird? Or they might just be tier maker, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to ignore every single SR in the game. Gila's also relevant. Red Gowther is in SS of Toxic. The attack seal, Doda, it was the worst thing for the longest time. No one likes it. His ult removes engage as well. This thing actually made me, when I was on JP month 1, it made me tweet out like a whole like essay about how I think this unit is a stupidly designed unit. Attack seal in a game like this doesn't make sense. It's broken. Get out the game. Rank up. I mean, we're all like rank up's still disgusting. So yeah, actually just like yeah. I know Green Gowther is irrelevant, but that's because Dissolve isn't that bad, and you can like, he's more so a strong unit again, other than like a toxic unit. Okay, then irrelevant. Sora toxic, but irrelevant. Sora toxic, but irrelevant. Enables toxicity, but isn't relevant. You're irrelevant. Sora toxic, but like not really relevant either. At his peak, King Brim is a team you had to respect. So I'll put it in E tier because I want to respect it. All these are relevant units. Lilia. Now I think the disaster team is actually broken, high key, but slept on. Like you run green Lilia, OG Valenti, and green Mono, and you actually have a kind of disgusting team. And you run like something in the back that reduces damage even more, like helps. If Red Easton works from the back, you run her. Yeah, actually disgusting. Or you run Red Easton and green Lilia backline. Yeah, probably makes more sense. Actually disgusting team. Actually disgusting. I actually just her alone, she's toxic herself, so I'll put her in like B, maybe even I'll put her in 18. I want to make a statement. She is really toxic. I'll give him an E tier because he was his buff, rank 3 buff at the start of the game was annoying. Gallon generally when I face him, the like 1 out of 100 matches and 1 out of 1,000 matches I face him, I think he's toxic. Chorus is toxic. His commandment is toxic, right? Genuinely. So I'll put him here. But not sort of toxic because you couldn't debuff him when he was at max ult. But it was more so toxic counterplay that you can't petrify him. He just gets full ult gauge and then attacks you anyway. No. Sora toxic. I'll put it in E tier, I suppose. Alright, we got a lot of relevant units coming up. That's not toxic. They're strong but not toxic. Alright. King actually gets in D. Because he has a heal too. And his ult was super strong. Whereas King Brim, his card, he had ult lower, which isn't bad. And his ult sucked. So I'll give the edge to King. King was also relevant for a lot longer. Fat King, funny. Blumenauts got funny. I already said like the explanation. All right, we have the last unit in SS. This is the tree I was talking about. These first 3. These are the toxic faces of Grand Cross. This unit is disgusting. I don't even want to talk about it. Deldry is toxic, but she sucks, so it doesn't matter. But she is mad toxic. Yeah, he's sort of toxic. Back then, on like week 1 on global, probably like month 1 of JP, people just had him in the back. He comes out and you're like, oh shit, but not really anymore. He's sort of toxic. All right, Ban also goes in SS because of what I said with defensive units should not be strong or shouldn't scale off defensives. You suck. You're okay, but you don't have the legacy red Lost Vein has, so I'll just put him here. Also doesn't have the passive, so you play him differently. Sigurd is sort of toxic, especially now with the new thing people are doing when they put him in the back. You kill a demon, he comes out, and they immediately get the 3 buffs in your PvE unit. She's sort of toxic, but not enough like to really like warrant anything. Same with her. She is okay. This Merlin is mad toxic. This Merlin is up here for sure. Actually, where I put her? No, she's here. Margaret is toxic. Margaret is a toxic unit. But I'll put her all in C tier. The cleanse is cringe, the buff is cringe, her damage is cringe, her passive is broken again, but it's not like it's more so strong than it is toxic, but it's also pretty toxic. So that's why I'll put her here. Not really toxic. You are toxic, but like you're so cool. Oh, wrong Diane. You're so cool that I'll put you here. Nope. Oh yeah. Speak of toxic, bro. Up here, minimum, probably up here, high key. All right. Oh, we have one of the next SS units. This Gowther right here. Come on. I don't even have to explain. You can just use the entire hand. I actually don't know what she does, but I have never seen her. She probably sucks. You're a PvE unit. Okay, we have another SS unit right here, boys. We have too many SS units. You're not, and you are good, but you're not that good. So I'll just put you in like D tier. All right, sick. Here's a tier list. Let me know what you think. I actually am very proud of myself for not making this 50 minutes long. My nose is screwed up, so I don't know why. But oh, it's cold outside, I guess. Anyway, that's the tier list, the toxic tier list. What I think is the most toxic unit. This is acid, I guess. This is just toxic. This is annoying. Or like this is rage on Twitter. I don't know why I line like that. This one is annoying. This one is cringe, and this one is why, and this one is attempt. An attempt at toxic. Actually, I'll put it here then. Okay, sick. I don't know why this is like this. Right, anyway, boys, I hope you guys enjoyed. That's it from my toxic tier list. Hope this gets more than 10 views. Hope you guys enjoyed. Good job.